Okay, peeps, welcome back. So today we're going to be talking about what will happen to Bitcoin's price if a spot Bitcoin ETF or multiple spot Bitcoin ETFs get approved. And we're going to take a look at the Bitcoin current and future price analysis. Let's get it. So the first thing I want to mention to you guys here is that we have had another golden cross on the MACD on the Bitcoin weekly time frame. As you guys can see way back here in August of 2022, basically pretty much right, not exactly at the lows, but pretty close to the lows, we had a golden cross on the MACD. That was a pretty strong indication that the price was going to move higher, although we kind of had like some bullish divergence going on here where the RSI was going higher and the price was going lower. That typically indicates a potential reversal of trend, which we did see. It started going to the upside. And then we had this kind of death cross and then a fake out here. And then now we have a golden cross. So as you guys can see, the death cross on the MACD didn't really play out too well. So it does appear that we're moving up. So what is all the hype about a spot Bitcoin ETF? So we're going to take a look at that right now. As you guys can see here, I have some news catalysts pulled up. So the big talk in the crypto space right now is basically that BlackRock, which is the world's largest asset manager by market cap, and they're absolutely massive. I think they have like 10 trillion in assets or something like that. Let's actually let's actually look that up. So let's type in BlackRock company. Yeah, as you guys can see, they have total assets under management of 8.6 trillion. Not sure where the 10 trillion comes from, but maybe this number right here is out of date as of 2023. Maybe it is 10 trillion. You can see they also have a stock as well. And I believe BlackRock does actually pay a dividend. Let's take a look at that. So yeah, so they do actually pay a dividend, as you guys can see here. So it's a $5 per share dividend. So if you guys were bullish on crypto and you wanted dividend paying stocks, you could actually buy Bitcoin on the news of a BlackRock spot ETF, and you could also buy BlackRock stock for the intention of making gains and also getting a dividend increase. As you guys can see on the share price here, it's pretty much, generally speaking, over time only ever gone up. Now understand that with the previous recession, the stock did get kind of smashed to the downside about 50%, so that's always a risk. But if you're a passive income investor, seeing lower prices is always more appealing because you get more income for less money, right? So let's take a look at some of these different news catalysts that we see here. So BlackRock Bitcoin ETF no longer listed on DTCC's website. So here is what the ticker symbol would be, IBDC. Listing was publicly viewable on Monday, which was 2 days ago. But apparently, whatever this clearing firm company or clearing corporation is, they had to delist it. So scroll down here, you guys can see that on this list of funds, it's not showing the IBTC. If you look on that list, I believe this is a Twitter post. Yeah, it's an X post. So basically, the fund was listed and then it was not listed. Apparently, it was taken down because, the SEC didn't approve of it. That's most likely what's going on because, as you guys know, the SEC has kind of been a bit hawkish on crypto. I mean, in my opinion, my personal opinion, of course, who am I, right? I'm just some guy on YouTube, but in my personal opinion, the SEC doesn't really have the right to talk about crypto because they're the Securities Exchange Commission. They're not the Crypto Exchange Commission. Crypto has been defined by the courts, I believe, as property, not as securities. And the courts actually, don't quote me on this, but I believe the courts just came out and recently said that the SEC has to make a decision on approving a spot Bitcoin ETF, or they have to basically pull the crypto futures, that you can trade, like Bitcoin futures, Ether's futures, off of the market. So they have to make a decision one way or another. But BlackRock settles with the SEC as it charges, or BlackRock. Okay, this title is confusing. BlackRock settles SEC charges as crypto community awaits Bitcoin ETF decisions. So basically, it looks like the SEC reached an agreement with BlackRock where they were going to fine them $2.5 million for improperly describing its investments in the entertainment business. I'm not sure what that even means. The allegations come as the SEC prepares to assess BlackRock's application for a spot Bitcoin exchange traded fund. So the important point here is that the anticipation surrounding a potential Bitcoin ETF approval has pushed the price of Bitcoin higher, with the price surpassing 35,000. So it appears that the SEC is kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. Basically, Congress came out and was like, hey, SEC, what the heck are you doing? You need to stop messing around with the crypto markets. And I think basically Congress had come out and told the SEC chair, like, hey, if you don't start complying with our requests, we're going to basically do like some sort of compulsory process. Again, I don't know what that is. I'm not going to take the time to look into it. The only thing that we care about as crypto investors basically is it bearish for the price of Bitcoin or is it bullish? You know, are we going to make money or are we going to lose money? Is it a bull trap? It is a bear trap. Which one is it? You know, that's what we care about. We care about the news as it relates to market price and potential gains and passive income. We don't necessarily care about the news for caring about the news, but it matters when it comes to the markets. Okay. So, and that plays into investor psychology. I mean, this whole thing between BlackRock and SEC, it could be a hoax. That's just my opinion. Of course, it could be a way to basically get retail investors to FOMO in and then dump on them right as it hits resistance. We've seen this before multiple times over the years when investing in crypto, but that's the risk you take. It could dump from this level, it could pump from this level, or it could dump from resistance and it could pump from support. You really never know. The best thing to do is just try to educate yourself and or watch this channel and figure out what the best overall synopsis would be as to where the direction is heading. So anyways, with that being said, in terms of the technicals, we do have another bull cross confirmed here on the MACD indicator. We do have the RSI having rebounded off of the 50 level, which when it closes and stays above the 50, that is considered bullish. And we have had a bounce from support leading all the way up to this resistance level. So, I mean, it's pretty bullish. We're actually up, I think, like $350 on our LTCN and BCHG positions. And our Bitcoin miner stocks, Riot and Mara, have pretty much returned. Well, I think Mara's returned to the previous all-time, or Riot's returned to the previous all-time highs, but Mara's still down a little bit. But they've had some pretty aggressive moves to the upside too on the event of the news or the announcement of the news. And one other thing to understand, this could be a buy the rumor, sell the news event. Okay, so typically what that means is market participants, they'll ape in, they'll buy into these rumors or these news catalysts of, oh, BlackRock's going to approve a Bitcoin spot ETF. Well, we don't know when that's going to be. It could be this month. It could be January. It could be April of next year. We really don't know. So they buy into it. And then when the news event actually comes out, then they sell all of their shares. So that's what buy the rumor, sell the news means. But anyways, back to the technicals. So as you guys can see here, we had a pretty nasty dump from the top down to the bottom. So it appears that the bottom was actually at 15.5 or 16,000. Again, this was previous resistance way back here in August of 2020. It became support in November of 2020 when Bitcoin was pushing past the 2017 peak. And right now we're pretty much sitting at resistance. So for the bulls, basically what you're going to want to see is you're going to want to see a green candle close above this macro resistance zone here with a follow-up green candle to the upside. If we get a green candle close above and then we get another red one back into the resistance, that's called a fake out or a fake pump or a bull trap, whatever you want to call it, or pump fake, bull trap. And chances are that we may end up going lower. But if we get a couple green consecutive candles above this, then we might actually be heading for maybe as high as 48,000, which you guys can see is this price level right here. So that's kind of what we want to see for the Bitcoin price. The other thing that we want to see is, well, I take that back. It looks like we actually already have seen it. So we did actually get a triple golden cross here on the EMAs. So yeah, I mean, from that perspective, everything looks pretty bullish. I would say the only thing left is to basically close above this resistance zone, which again, looking at this, I mean, guys, understand that this has been a major trade zone for a long time. You got resistance here, support here, resistance here, support here, support here, support here. Then it became resistance over here. And then it was resistance here and here. So this is a lot of trading activity going on in this particular zone. So it may take a little while to actually get above it. I'm not sure if the spot Bitcoin ETF news it alone is going to be enough to send Bitcoin to 48,000, but it could happen. So, do I think that spot Bitcoin ETF or ETFs will skyrocket the price of Bitcoin? Yes, I do. I'm going to go over 2 macro scenarios that you guys could potentially see out of this big potential Bitcoin move with mass adoption. Again, if these crypto ETFs get approved, I mean, BlackRock alone is 10 trillion. So if 10% of that money goes into Bitcoin, you're talking $1 trillion just for BlackRock going into Bitcoin. Fidelity's 8 trillion. So that'd be another 800 billion from Fidelity going into Bitcoin. So basically the market cap of, I actually got to take a look and see which one of these is actually Bitcoin by itself. I think this one is Bitcoin by itself. Nope. Okay, that excludes Bitcoin. So, okay, well, here's what we're going to do since I can't actually see it on this charts. We're going to go to coingecko.com. So the current market capitalization of Bitcoin is 670 billion. So basically, if you were to add another, what would just BlackRock and Fidelity be? That'd be another $1.8 trillion. So you could see Bitcoin's market cap at roughly about 2.5 trillion. So that would roughly about 4x the price of Bitcoin currently. So Bitcoin itself could go from roughly about $35,000 to $140,000 based on just 10% of those 2 mega conglomerates' money being put into Bitcoin. So here's the 2 macro scenarios that I see playing out, one or the other, okay? Well, actually 3. So the first one is that this is basically a news catalyst meant to suck investors in, and then they dump on their heads as the price is heading up. Where that top could potentially be, I think personally it would be somewhere around this $36,000 level. It could be as high as maybe 42,000, could be as high as 48,000. We really don't know. Okay, so that could be the first scenario. The second scenario is that the Bitcoin spot ETFs get approved right away, meaning like this month, next month, or December, something like that. And then the price of Bitcoin gets sent all the way back to $70,000 before April of next year, which is when the next Bitcoin halving is. And then it dumps from that price straight back down to 30 to 40K. Why do I say it would go up to 70,000 and then get dumped, at least in the immediate short term, and then maybe after the halving go past 70,000? Well, there's a couple of reasons for that. Number one, there's a lot of people that bought up in this area on the previous peak of Bitcoin. Again, retail investors always want to FOMO in at the top. They never want to buy at the bottom. So they might be looking to just get out and say, hey, I just want to get out. I want to break even. I want to get my money back. So they may be looking to take profit up here. You may have some whales. Whales is defined as anybody that has 1,000 to 10,000 Bitcoin or more. You have some mega whales out there that have 100,000 Bitcoin, but they're going to look at this resistance and say, okay, we've been holding since down here at 15,000. We want to take a lot of profit up here. and they might maybe move the price back down to 30,000 and then rip it higher after the halving. And also, you probably are going to have some swing traders as well that have been longing since 15 to 30K, looking to take profit all the way up here and even at the top. And you might have some shorts come in and say, well, this is a double top or a triple top. We got a top here in April, top here in October. We're sitting at 70,000 again. We want to short this market because we think we're going to make money. And then they put their stop right above the previous all-time high and they short it into the floor. And then after the halving, Bitcoin rips to the moon because, the halving, that's usually what happens after the halving. So that's the second scenario. Third scenario would be that basically the spot Bitcoin ETFs get delayed until sometime next year around the halving event. Bitcoin kind of doesn't really do much. It kind of just bounces around between, I would say, maybe 20K to 35K. And then we get an announcement of the Bitcoin spot ETFs right around the time of the halving or shortly after the halving, which would make sense because, they big money, they want to get their piece of the pie first before everybody else does, right? They don't want to say anything too early. And then, everybody ends up jumping in before they've gotten their fill, so to speak. And then, so that happens around the time of the halving, and then we moonshot. Now, as for how high the price could go, I think theoretically, I would say roughly about 100 and if I'm being generous here, I would say maybe 150 to 200,000 would be the top on Bitcoin. If I'm being conservative, I would say maybe about 125 to 150,000, maybe 110 to 150,000 on Bitcoin's top would be a more conservative estimate. But when the spot Bitcoin ETFs roll into the picture, it's really difficult to say where it could potentially be. I mean, we could see several 100,000, maybe 500,000. It's hard to say. I'm not showing the 500,000 narrative. I think 150 to 200,000 is probably pretty generous, but we'll just have to wait and see. So anyways, this is the what we could expect from the spot Bitcoin ETFs and if they'll move the market or not. Hope you all enjoyed this content. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see y'all later. Peace.